Hey guys, as always, you join me in the Rocky Mountains at about almost 11,000 feet above sea level for another one of my top dog off-road videos. And today we've got that. And yes, it's not new. It's a 2016 Jeep Wrangler, but it's special. And I'll show you why. First and foremost, this vehicle belongs to TFL. We bought it for a recovery rig when we go off-roading, and we need a rig to help recover some vehicles on some of the special projects that we do. But we bought it because it's special, and at the end of this video, I'm going to tell you how much we paid for it. Now, it started out as a plain Jane Jeep JK Wrangler Rubicon in 2016, but then the dealer did something special to it. They sent it to AEV, which stands for American Expedition Vehicles, to have it, well, AEV'd. And that's where this becomes the top dog, at least 2016 JK, because what AEV did and what AEV does is, well, they give it special wheels, they give it a special wheel carrier that's great for gasoline. They give it special AEV bumpers where you can put in water. Of course, they give it recovery points. Now, if you remember recently at the Chicago Auto Show, Jeep came out with an anniversary edition Wrangler that was also an AEV conversion done at the factory. This was done at the factory at AEV. That one was done, I believe, also at the factory at AEV. And that one cost $115,000. This one was done for about $10,000 to $15,000 over the standard price of a Rubicon back in 2016. So we're really looking at probably about a $50,000 Jeep that turned into a $60,000 or $65,000 Jeep back in the day. And that seems quaint in today's standards. So let's talk about what else make this the ultimate Jeep Wrangler. You've got your AEV bumper in the front. Of course, off-road lights, worn winch with synthetic cable. And one of my favorite things of all, of course, is the lift, which allows you to do things like put 35-inch wheels and tires, of course, 35-inch tires. Special, show you here, Bilstein shocks, which are dirty from recovering vehicles at the ranch. And this is also important. Rock sliders, but rock sliders, as you can tell, are attached to the frame and not to the body. Oftentimes, manufacturers will attach rock sliders to the body of the vehicle. You want them to the frame, a much better place. And of course, what also makes it unusual is not what's under the hood. Let me show you that, because it's a bone stock Pentastar, which back in the day got about 285 horsepower with a 260 pound-foot of torque, made it to a 5-speed manual automatic transmission. I'm trying to do two things at once, talk and close the hood and getting it wrong. So 5-speed automatic, which is not enough. But I do love the color. My only complaint, of course, is at this AEV bumper, you can tell, starting to rust a little bit. And that's very unusual for AEV because they do exceptionally good aftermarket work. In fact, so good that, like I said, Jeep, and sorry if I'm out of breath, 11,000 feet, not as easy to walk around as you think. Anyway, in fact, AEV does such good work that Jeep, well, basically had them build the most expensive Wrangler ever. Now, one thing I do want to show you back here, standard JK, is this. We recently partnered with Thor's Lighting Systems, which basically allow you to air up and air down really quickly. Highly recommend this. I'm not going to show you how this works, but if you look at one of our videos recent videos where we took this and compared it to a Toyota 4Runner and took it up red cone, you'll see just how well that works. Of course, the other thing that you've got here are reinforced hinges, because when you put on water and a bigger wheel and tire combo, you're going to break the tailgate or at least break the hinges of the tailgate. Now, back in the day, this towed 2,000 pounds, not all that much. And I'm not sure if the roof rack, and I think those are Max Track knockoffs, actually came with the AEV kit. I'm thinking because it's Smitty built, it probably didn't, and I think that was added on afterwards from the previous owner. The high lift jack may have been part of the deal, and these are really fun, especially if you know how to use them. If you don't, you should probably learn before you use them. Obviously, this Jeep has had some trail damage. It's been used. We've used it. We just took it up a very difficult, like I said, trail called Red Cone. That's a video well worth watching. Check out all TFL. Now, as always, I'm going to take it up there. We're going to talk about what makes this the one vehicle that we've bought and kept. As you know, last time I came up here with our Ford Raptor, we have since sold that on, but we still have this, and we'll probably have this for a long time. Now, inside, you can also tell an AEV Jeep because it's got AEV, or at least leather. You can see they did a little bit of AEV on the front and rear seats. And then maybe the coolest thing of all, let me show you, in here is, I'll start it up first so I can show you, is a special AEV dash cluster. So right there, AEV dash. And this is how you know this was done at the AEV factory. The other cool thing is not these handles, but this kind of supported what Jeep calls sports bar. Now, Jeep doesn't call this a roll bar because, well, if you roll the Jeep, it can pancake. And that's why this has been reinforced to hopefully make it more of a roll bar and less of a sports bar. So in case of an accident, this will hopefully protect you, especially if there's a rollover. Now, that's all the good things, but there are some kind of bad things about this Jeep. First and foremost, when you give it 35s and you lift it, you get really horrible fuel economy. So let me show you here. Menu. Look at that. 14.7 mpg. That is two better than the Raptor that I had out here last time. And that's because this Pentastar really has to work. With only 260 pound-foot of torque, it just really has to work. Driving it up here from Denver wasn't not fun, but it wasn't particularly fun. The big tires give that traditional solid axle Jeep, a pretty, I shouldn't say bad highway ride, but let's call it a wandery highway ride. Now, back in 2016, this did have all the goodies. So disconnectable sway bar right there, of course, lockers, and then four-wheel drive, and heated seats. Wahoo! So there were some creature comforts. And actually, I like this Uconnect infotainment system from back in the day. I think it's really simple to use, and in some ways, I miss and long for these old systems that didn't require a lot of lateral thinking to work. All right, let's take it up and see how she does. Now, like I said, we bought this because when I saw it come on the market, I just knew that this is going to be an excellent long-term recovery rig for TFL. But more importantly, I bought this because this is a 7-year-old Jeep with 63,000 miles, and it's almost perfect for wheeling. Actually, let me take that back. It is perfect for wheeling. And as you know, this summer I've taken a bunch of vehicles up here, including the Bronco Raptor, the Ford F-150 Raptor R, the GMC Canyon AT4X, very expensive vehicles. Like the Raptor R was $110,000, and Bronco Raptor $80,000. I took the Jeep took the Jeep with the big Hemi up here. I always get that wrong. It's 482 or 492. I don't know. Sorry. I'm sure you can correct me in the comments. I got a little brain fart there. But all those vehicles are, $90,000, or in the case of the Canyon, almost $70,000. In the case of the Raptor, $110,000. And what you end up doing is really worrying about every rock, every branch, every vehicle that comes down, because you don't want to damage this vehicle, because it's just, especially now, worth so much money. And so, the Land Rover guys like to say that it's their third owner and 70,000 miles before one of theirs goes off-road. And that's why I think that is kind of the perfect time. So this is 7 years old with 63,000 miles, and you just don't worry about it. You just feel like any pinstriping just gives it character instead of scars. And I think that, makes wheeling a lot less stressful and a lot more fun. Now, since this has been done up by AAV, let's talk about, the multiple, gosh darn it, hundreds of different, if not thousands of different companies that offer basically these same kind of lift kits, these same kind of upgrades to your Wrangler that many people do. And in my mind, they kind of fall into two categories. There are those that are cosmetic, and then there are those that are functional. And the reason I love AEV is because, this is all functional, right? You've got a spare tire that holds fuel, or at least the back of the holder holds fuel. You've got a bumper that holds additional water. Everything you want to actually take this thing overlanding or camping, if you prefer the old term, into places where that stuff is kind of hard to get. And another perfect example of that would be rock rails that are connected to the frame. So if you do smash them on a rock, you're hitting the frame, not the body, which is much more prone to crumpling. So keep in mind, side steps and rock rails are two different things. And of course, this has rock rails. Now, I think that since 2016, when this was built, especially suspension technology has just completely, let me pass these people. Hey, there's Blazy. It's a dog like Blazy. How cool is that? Has completely, had a revolution. And that's because companies like Bilstein and Fox have gotten into I'd say Cold War, but it's really a hot war of suspension design. And so in the last 7 years, we've seen just huge steps in terms of suspension technology. And of course, the biggest of those is active suspension, where the vehicle does things like, if it's in the air, it'll firm up the shocks so that when you hit, you don't bottom out. And all that stuff has just gotten so much better. Bigger, larger for motorcycles, bigger, larger. Nice BMW. Nice BMWs. Only two of you guys? Just two? Good. Just two?
Just us.
Okay. All right. Have a great day. Bye. Just incredible steps. And what that all translates to is much more capable and much more comfortable vehicles. Now, this one with the sway bar disconnect and with, I'm going to say now, old-fashioned Bilsteins, and it looks like it's got a 4-inch, maybe 5-inch lift and solid axles. It's pretty darn comfy, but oh my gosh, when you compare it to, today's active suspension vehicles, well, you can see here. I'm still getting, this is what really, people hate. It's kind of this head bob, right, where your head starts going left to right, left to right. Now I'm doing that myself, but that one I didn't do myself. But, this is where being a passenger in a Jeep is no fun. And as technology gets better, this just gets better and better. The other thing that good suspension does is it keeps your wheels and tires in contact with the dirt. Because once you're out of contact with the dirt, that's when you get high-centered. That's when you get stuck. And so not only do you get more suspension travel in many of the top dog modern vehicles, also Multimatic, I almost forgot about those. Those guys are also doing some pretty incredible stuff, including building the new Mustang GTD. Who would have thunk, huh? Started out Formula One technology, went into off-road technology, and now they're building a $300,000 Mustang. which by the way seems kind of off-brand for Ford, but that's a video in a completely different context. So the biggest improvement, of course, is suspension technology. It's just gotten leaps and bounds better. And having said that, it still hasn't gotten nearly as good as side-by-sides, which in the last 6-7 years since this was built, have completely changed the game in terms of off-roading. Now you're talking about 18 inches or 20 inches of suspension travel, which makes going off-road, very comfortable for the family and the kiddos, so you don't feel like you're getting so beaten up. I kind of feel like that's the new frontier until somebody invents one of those Star Wars like land skimmers where you're off the ground. But until then, side-by-sides have really changed the game. And I think the latest one, if you go to all TFL, the Polaris, that is now pretty much a full-on pickup truck with enclosed cab, air conditioning, is perhaps the best example of how side-by-sides are now basically copying traditional on-road vehicles, kind of coming up from the off-road world. It's starting to rain a little bit. The other thing we did with this vehicle, I don't know if you can hear it, is we added an aftermarket exhaust. And that's because I kind of like to hear the engine. The Pentastar does not sound great, whether you have it in a Charger, a Challenger, or a minivan. It does not sound great. But with this aftermarket MagnaFlow exhaust, it has a little bit of a rumble to it, so it lets you know it's there. And if you're wondering where I'm at, I'm on a trail called Deer Creek, which is just outside of Montezuma, Colorado. Our friends at Onyx Off-Road offer a great service where you can download a map of this very trail, and even if you're not in phone service, you can actually navigate to this exact same place, and then you could bring your Civic out here, because I know from the video this looks like I'm going up a dirt road, but trust me, it's not. But you can, of course, say that in the comments below, as many of you always do. So bring your Civic up here, and actually, if you are going to do that, let me know, and we'll film you, and we'll see how far you get. I bet you don't even get to the start of where I start this video in a even, let's say, a light crossover. And I know that because we've tried. So, all in all, if you guys are looking for, a Jeep to make your own, I think the JK is just a really great start. Just because it kind of is, in the sweet spot of Jeeps. TJs now are getting, and I'm talking about, of course, Wranglers. TJs now, the technology, when I first started this in, 13 years ago, 14 years ago, TJs seemed like they were, really great vehicles to build up, but now they feel like they're just a little too old. The engine's just a little too, not powerful enough. This seems to be really the sweet spot, especially if you get the one with the Pentastar, which came in, I think, 2013 or 2014, because the Pentastar is going to be, I think, one of those iconic motors like that straight six that everybody yearns for, the 4-liter in the old Jeeps and the old Cherokees. But this has proved to be a very reliable engine. My only downside of this is, of course, on road, especially coming up here from Denver up I-70, it's just not powerful enough. It just doesn't have the gumption to push a vehicle that's this tall and this big. This is, of course, the JKU Unlimited. Was it Unlimited back then, or was that JLU? Is that when the Unlimited started? I'm not quite sure, but Unlimited just means 4-door. So we've gotten to our usual stopping point, and I promised to tell you how much we paid for this. Like I say, new, I think it was around $60,000 to $65,000. We paid $36,000 for this vehicle all in, and I'm very happy we did. I think to build it out yourself, you could probably do it for less, but the quality of the components and the quality of the ride would not be as good. Well, guys, thank you for joining me for another Top Dog video. I guess back in 2016, the stickers weren't applied so well, or maybe this vehicle just sat outside for too long. But I just love it. I think the look is perfect. It's the right height. It's the right year. It's the right Jeep Wrangler for off-roading because it's, like I said, new enough to be modern and yet old enough not to be so precious that you're always worried about it. Well, as the rain moves in, I will bid you guys farewell. Remember, check out alltfl.com if you want to see more Top Dog reviews. As always, this is Roman saying we've got maybe 2 more months before the snow comes in. So I'll plan to do a few more of these videos, but we're kind of getting to the end of wheeling in Colorado, which means we're going to have to go back to Moab, and we are doing a very special series. We just finished up our cheap Jeep series, and I'll give you a hint. We're working on a cheap Toyota series. See you guys next time. Ciao. Oh yeah, let me show you this. Look at that, a locking gas cap. Were gas prices high in 2016? Maybe.